Hello everyone and thank you very much for watching. This is me, Mr. P, and this is another episode in a Proxmox Home Server series. In this video, I will show you how you can self-host KASM Workspaces. KASM Workspaces is a service that you can self-host, and that service will allow you to stream containerized apps and desktops to a browser. There is free price plans available for KASM at the time of recording this video. I'm going to use a community one, which is, as you can see, is free. It's $0 a month. And for home lab users, I would say community edition is more than enough for you to use. I've been using community edition KASM inside my home lab for almost a year now, and I've been using for my personal use and for my work. Mainly for work, I'm using the containerized browsers, like for example Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Tor browser, Brave, just because I need to have a browser which is cache clear, no history, no cookies browser to test websites for my work. But for my day-to-day use, I've been using KASM just to open, let's say somebody sends me an email with a link, or I receive an email with a link that I don't not like trust the sender, but send is a new into my address book, or the link I never seen that kind of domain before. So instead of opening the link on my main machine, I can use KASM to do the heavy lifting and open that link inside isolated environment and check out, and everything is fine. I can basically use it then safely on my main machine. I will show you how everything works. So let's start by setting up the KASM. Step 1, I need to get myself virtual machine or LXC container running. For this video, I will use LXC container, but you can get all this working inside the VM. I'll click on the blue button, create CT, and give it a name. I will name this KASM-YT. I'm going to run this as an unprivileged container. Give it a password, and everything else stays by default. I got automatically incremented 105 ID number, as this is the next one available. Under templates, I will pick Ubuntu 22.04 LXC container template. Like I said, you can use the virtual machine if you want. You can create a virtual machine, let's say Ubuntu server virtual machine, and use that. Under disks, 8 GB is not going to be enough for KASM. Minimum, I would suggest to install 25 GB. I'm going to go to 32. The more size you will select here, the more workspaces you will be able to create, because each workspace that you're going to run inside the KASM will obviously require storage to store all the information. So 32, I would say, is the best option, minimum best option to go for. 64 is going to be obviously the better. On my main Proxmox server, I'm using 64 GB, and 44 GB already been used with all the workspaces that I'm using there. CPU minimum is 2, I would say. 4 is better, but if your server don't have enough resources, or you don't have any spare resources inside the Proxmox server, 2 is a minimum. RAM, the more RAM you will assign, the better, because the KASM will run your isolated environments inside Docker containers, and Docker containers loves RAM. So the more RAM you will have, the more, let's say, users will be able to utilize your KASM workspaces all at the same time. So 512 is definitely not enough. I'm going to go with 2 GB, but I would say actually 4 GB would be better to pick up. Swap is not really that important. Under networks, I will choose IPv4 to be DHCP and obtain IP address from my DHCP server. IPv6 is not that important for me. DNS, I'll leave all this to be using host settings. Under confirm, it gives me a list of all the stuff I selected. I'm just going to click start after created and press finish. And here we are, Proxmox created my LXC container, so I'm going to close that. Click on the 105, which says the KASM-YT. Actually, I will quickly change that to say yes, actually no, because this is going to be then in numbering order. Before it was containers first, then VMs, but now it's a numbering order, so KASM is going to be at the end. So first thing, I'm going to log in, and straight away I will check the IP address. So I'm just going to do like this. IP address 122. I will assign my tag to be 122. So now I know that, for example, Cloudflare-YT is 183 ending number. The Docker-YT is 157. So this is the way I utilize the tagging feature inside the Proxmox 8.x. So right now the container is running. Next thing, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly run apt update, && apt upgrade. So it's going to update first, and then once the update command is successfully finishes, it's going to go to the next one. and then next one will be upgrade. So I'll wait for all this to finish. And here we are, my container is updated and upgraded. So next thing, we're going to go to this page. This is the installation instructions, how to install KASM. I'll leave a link to this page in the description below the like button, so you can go and you follow the instructions. It's suggesting to download everything inside temp folder. Temp folder is a temporary folder that gets wiped and cleared every time you restart your system. So in my case, as soon as I restart this container, the temp folder will be deleted, or content of the temp folder will be removed. I won't do that. I'm just going to quickly go and double check my working directory is root. So I'm just going to leave everything in here just in case if I need to reinstall or installation process will not happen as it's supposed to. I will be able to quickly rerun this installation script again. So next thing, is the curl installed? Curl is not installed, so I'm going to quickly install the curl. If you're creating this inside a VM, there is a big chance that curl is already installed. If it's not, just run sudo apt install curl and it's going to install curl for you. So that's been downloaded. So I'm going to run a curl command to fetch the installation script from AWS server. Press enter, and all this is, as you can see, is almost 26 megabytes in size. So now I have this file. Next instruction in it is basically run a tar command using flags xf and specify the file, and this command is extracting the content. So I'm going to run this straight away. Originally I had just a zip file, but now I have a folder as well. I will navigate inside the folder, and inside here is going to be a bunch of files. Next is suggesting to run sudo bash and installation script. As I'm already logged in as root, there is no need for me to put sudo, but if you're using a user, not a root user or super user, you need to put sudo in front. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to run install bash space install.sh and press enter. It's going to ask me to accept the terms and conditions, and I will press enter. And installation starts. During installation process, for me, it was at one time it was the error, popped up the error. That was something wrong with installation. So basically you just rerun the installation install.sh file again, and the installation script will check what's been installed and will carry on where it's crashed. Another thing, as a suggestion, if you're installing this inside the Elixir container, do not close this window, because if you're going to close this window, like for example I will do now, I'll come back. As you can see, everything is starting from the top again as this refreshes the CLI interface. At the end of the installation, the KASM install script will provide you with admin username and a password and the normal user username and a password, and this will obviously show up in this dashboard. But because you're gonna switch the windows between this and something else and come back, they will be basically screen will be cleared and you won't see it. And while I was talking, as you can see, there's an error, so I'm just gonna bring back the installation command bash.install bash space install.sh, press enter, accept the terms and conditions again. And now it's just going and checking what's being done and straight away continuing with pulling the Docker containers that are required to set up all the KASM. As you can see, it's installing the KASM DB now. So back to my suggestion, once this is running, just leave this page open, do not close, do not refresh. Otherwise you will not see the admin username and a password, and you need that obviously to log into KASM. So leave that running, because KASM will create KASM installation script will create you a password, admin password for you. Username, user password and username is not that quite important, because you can delete the username while you logged in as admin and create a new one. Most important is going to be making sure that you have all the details on the screen. So we'll leave this running and I'll come back when I will get all the credentials showing up on the screen. And here we are. These are credentials that I was talking about. They don't fit in one screen, so I'm just going to quickly lower the font size, and I will just select all of this, right click and copy and paste into a text note editor. Here we go. So I got the admin password and user and login username saved. So if this page disappears, for example, like this, as you can see, it's dropped back to the most last line. And right now, that's it. Your credentials gone. So to basically get the credentials back, you just need to recreate everything and start installation from scratch. So IP address is 122. So if I'll navigate to 192.168.178.122, and it needs to be HTTPS, I will get the SSL error. I'm going to click advanced. I'm going to say proceed to the URL. And this is the KASM Workspaces. So username was admin@kasm.local. And I will copy the password that has been provided after installation. and log in. And this is the admin panel for KASM Workspaces. Straight away, as soon as you log in, just click on the ID icon here at the top right hand corner on the pencil, reset the password. I'll paste the same password that got generated, and I need to create a new one, which needs to be 8 characters or more, and needs to be one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter. Well, it needs to be uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters, like exclamation mark or something like that. So I'm just going to reset the password. Once that is done, I'll click on this, click on Access Management, Users. It's asking me to log in because the password got reset. So for security reasons, it's logging you out and asking you to log in with a new password. And this is the user that this gets auto-generated as well. I'm just going to go click on this icon, click on Recycle Bin and delete, add a new user. I'll create a new user, Mr. P, and give it the password. The password requirement is the same, 8 characters or more, uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. There's a bunch of other settings that you can add, like for example, give it fill the address list, address information for this user. I'm just gonna give it a username and a password. I click save. So now I have admin and I have a user. So right now, let's go and start setting up a workspaces. If I click on a workspaces and I click on a workspaces, this option, right now I have no workspaces added. So I'm gonna click on the registry. And the registry now, this list is all that comes pre-configured or pre-configured that you can go and install. And if you click on the registries, there is an option to install registries, like for example, KASM Technologies. If I click Add New, you need to paste the link to another registry that is compatible with the KASM Workspace. Like for example, linuxservers.io, they have a link to their registry that you can copy and paste in here. And from 118 options, you will have obviously more that you can pick up from this. I do have a Linux server.io registry added, but what they offer pretty much is already exist in this list. So I don't really recommend. Well, you can add the extra one, but the benefit, you won't get much benefit to adding other registries. This is more useful if you have your own maintained registry, where you have your own Docker containers inside your own registry, and you want to use them because they're custom made and with the custom settings, custom functionality, and etc. So this is the list that I can pick workspaces. So I'll pick up a workspace, for example, Brave browser. I'll click on that. I'll say install, and behind the scenes, KASM is going and fetching the Brave browser Docker container and setting everything up for me. If I click on workspaces, as you can see, Brave tile showed up and there is exclamation mark, which is telling me that image is not yet being set up. I'll go back to registries and I'll say I want to have Edge, and I want to have, let's say, one of the Ubuntu. Yes, I can run fully-fledged Ubuntu in this system. As you can see, you can have RetroArch. You can, if you want, you can install Doom game. Yeah, why not? Let's get that running. Blender, Audacity, you can install Atom 8 IDE. Somewhere there was a Visual Studio Code IDE, Tor browser if you want. Ramina, you can even have a SSH running if you want. So once that is done, let's wait for all these to get set up. And while they're setting up, you can assign, I'll show you how you can assign the external services. So I'll click on the sessions. I click on the infrastructure and click on the servers. This is where you can add the servers, the outside servers from your server. So for example, my Proxmox runs on 191 IP address. So I'm going to give it a friendly name, PVE YouTube. Simultaneous connections or sessions is how many simultaneous connections can happen to this workspace. It's only me that's going to probably use, let's say it's only you who's going to use this, so maybe 2 or 3. I always just put 5 just to be safe. Once, let's say I open this workspace that I'm about to create on this machine, and I'll go up to try to open another machine, it's going to say that the session is already active. You need to close this before you can open the new one. Deployment zones, I'm going to pick default. You can obviously assign more deployment zones. Pool, there's nothing there. You can install KASM agent. There's more information you can find here or online inside the KASM documentation. IP, so it's going to be the IP address of my Proxmox, so 191. Connection type, will it be KASM VNC, RDP, VNC, or SSH? As you can see, you can RDP into a virtual Windows machine, for example, hosted inside a Microsoft Azure data centers, and you can RDP from your KASM. I'm going to say it is SSH. Default port is going to be 22. Username is root. and a password. If your SSH requires a SSH key, you can fill all this here. I'm going to click Save. So now I have this one added. If I click on the workspaces, this is the workspace that I selected from the list: Brave, Doom, Edge, and Ubuntu. I will click Add Workspaces. Select the workspace, server, friendly name. I need to give it again. So let's say what it was. You can put the different name here that it was added inside the server setup. Description, Proxmox Home Server Series. Thumbnail, you can copy and paste URL of the thumbnail. URL needs to end with .png or .jpeg. Yes, I want to enable this workspaces. Server, and this is from the list you pick up. So you have a lot of servers here. I'm going to pick this one up, and that's it. Click Save. So now it says PVE YouTube shows up here. If I click on the workspaces, as you can see, there is an option for me to select. I can see the Brave Edge is already set up. So while the other is getting set up, let's say I'm going to jump straight into my SSH. If I click on this tile, I'll have an option. Do I want to open a current tab, new tab, or window, or new window? I'm going to say new tab. And why is don't want to do that? Have I messed it up? Yes, I messed this up. I forgot to turn basic details in. There's an enable button, the first one in the list, that I need to turn this on. Now, as you can see, it says green. Now I can go to workspaces. It shows up here. And if I click on this, say new tab, launch it. And KASM right now starting SSH client for me that automatically jumps into this SSH connection to my Proxmox. It's asking me, do I want to enable clipboard? I'm going to say yes. And the clipboard is basically, you can copy and paste from the here straight away into a browser. You need to first of all open the clipboard here, write something here. So for example, let's put htop, and now I can right click on here. As you can see, it shows up htop. And if I'll select this, where is I'm located? I'm located inside the root. So I'm going to say touch subscribe. I'll go into my Proxmox instance, select the Proxmox node inside the shell, same location. If I list, as you can see, there is a subscribe button shows up, subscribe text shows up. I'm going to remove that, go back inside the KASM and list the content, and it's not there anymore. So this is the SSH session. I can close it straight away like this. I'm going to say, you want to close it? You may lose all the things that's not saved. I'm going to say yes. And now this container is still active as a connection to, or the connection to SSH is still active. It's not doing anything in the background. It just, the session is active for 59 or almost an hour. You can increase that time, how long this session will be active, by going inside settings or admin panel while you logged in as admin, management, user access management, groups, and you choose for which group you want to go for. Let's say for admins, if we're going to click on this button and click pencil, settings, and I do think this is available in the list, so I'm going to click add a new setting, and I'm looking for which it says KASM session alive expire. Here we go, this one, and by default it is 3600 seconds. So I'm just going to add, as you can see, I some time ago I added like a bunch of zeros at the end, so I'm going to submit that. And the same I'll do for users. Click on there, click on a pencil, and then click on a settings. Users already will have that one set up, so I'm going to say start typing expiration, and this is the one. As you can see, default value 3600. I'm going to click on a pencil. I'm going to say a bunch of more zeros at the end. That's it. So I'm going to click on a workspaces, remove that, delete. Let's launch the SSH again. SSH is running. Come on. I don't know why my Proxmox decided not to allow me to connect. Anyway, I'll demonstrate that with, let's say, a Brave browser. So I'm going to click on a Brave browser, new tab, yes. And KASM right now starting the Brave browser for me. So as you can see, it started, everything is working. And let's say, let's visit the website. Let's go for example, reddit.com. It's opening a Reddit page for me. If I'll close this page, leave, let's refresh this, and now it says it will expire in 41 days and 15 hours, because I'm increased the time. So let's close that, let's open, for example, Ubuntu. Let's open Ubuntu. So we're starting the Ubuntu container, desktop environment Ubuntu container, and this is a fully working Ubuntu OS. I can run Signal, Remina, as you can see, only Office Worksuite, Chrome browser. I can do a bit of image editing using a GIMP, OBS, Sublime IDE, Zoom, Visual Studio Code, and there's a bunch of other stuff you can run. You can open a terminal and do all the things inside the terminal. Once you're done, you can close that, or you can click on this button and straight away delete the session, jump straight to Workspaces. There's a bunch of other stuff. As you can see, streaming quality, you can increase or decrease streaming quality depending on your connection to your server or internet speed if you're logging to this system from outside your network. I'm just going to say delete the session. So session is getting deleted. Let's close that. And now if I refresh, one of the sessions will get deleted. I don't think it's, I'm just going to force it anyway to get deleted. Here we go, delete. So all this setup done. Now what I'm going to do next, I'm going to click on this icon. I'm going to say sign out from the admin, and I will log in as a user. Let's log in as a user. As a user, I'll see everything like this. There is an option for you to choose which user can see which tiles. For example, as an admin, I want to have access to SSH, but I don't want to give this access, SSH access to my Proxmox server for a user. So there's options for you to filter down or be more specific who has access to what. So I'm just going to delete this session. So right now, everything is running fine. Let's say I will open a page on this, inside my laptop. So I'm on Reddit, and let's say there is a link that I want to open it, but I'm not sure if this link is legitimate. If somebody sends you, let's say, an email with some sort of a link, and you're not sure if it's legit or not. Maybe there is, let's say, a spam, a hacker sending you a link. So I don't want to open this inside my main system. I want to open this link inside isolated environment inside KASM. To do that, you need to install extension. So this is the Chrome browser extension store. I'm using this extension that I'm about to install on side the Microsoft Edge, as the Microsoft Edge is based on Chromium, so it's going to work as well. So let's search for KASM. And first one, it says KASM Open in Isolation. I click on that and we'll install. Yes. So this is installed. For Firefox, you need to go to Firefox store to try to find it there. I'm using the KASM mostly on the Chrome browser and Microsoft Edge. So this has been installed. I can close that. So step one, and let's close a bunch of these windows. Right, so I do have KASM running, and I'm logged in as Mr. P username, and IP address is 122. So I'm gonna right click on the extensions, or left click on the extensions icon, click on the three dots and say options. And now I need to give KASM your server URL. I will leave HTTPS. I'm gonna put the IP address 122. And next I can have option on the go or cast key. I'm gonna leave this by default, use go. I want this to be a new tab, and then the advanced options, there is a couple of things you can select, like search engine, which one you want prefer, and what text you want to replace as soon as this connects. I'm going to click save. Option saved. I'm going to close that, and go back to Reddit. So this is the link that I want to open it, but I'm not sure if I should open it. I'm not sure what's behind it. I'm going to right click, and I have an option right now. It says open in KASM. I'm going to left click on that, and it's asking me to select the default option. So while I'm logged in as a user, so for example, if I close that, you can do the same thing from here, or do this on a first run on a KASM. And this is what it's asking you, is to select your default workspaces. As you can see, so to automatically open my user settings, so same as I click on a user and pencil, then go on the settings, default workspace, I need to select which one? Edge. Let's say Edge is going to be my default workspace. If you have Chrome workspace setup done, you can select Chrome browser if you want. So this is, I'm going to select that. I'm going to say yes. And now let's go back to the Reddit, right click on this link and say open link in KASM. It doesn't work always on the first click. I'm going to right click again and choose KASM. And now what's happening is the KASM extension connects to my KASM server or KASM LXC container. It's automatically logged in as a user, Mr. P, so it automatically logs in and starts Microsoft Edge container for me. So this is all that website that was behind this link. When I finish with this link and I'm happy about it, like I got all the information that I want, I can delete that session, close this tab, and keep going through Reddit or emails or whatever. You found another link. Let's say, where is it? Let's find another link somewhere. Here we go, another link. I'm going to right click KASM, as you can see, doesn't work always at the same time at the first. So I'm going to open this link inside the KASM. It's opening inside a isolated environment. I'm gonna just close that straight away, and as you can see, the KASM shows up here. Okay, our workspaces that are active, it shows up here. Let's go, for example, to Reddit. Let's go to Samsung DeX subreddit group. Let's click on that. By the way, if you are a fan of Samsung DeX as a desktop environment with this that is available on the Samsung Galaxy phones, not all of them, on most of them available, you will definitely need to go into this group. You will find a lot of help here and a lot of people that are they're happy to use Samsung DeX, and will give you a lot of advice what you need to get if you want to connect, for example, DeX Samsung device to an external monitor to use it. So let's go find the link. Let's find the link. Anyone post any links? Here we go. There's a link. I'm not sure, let's say again, if it's legitimate or not. I'm going to open up inside the KASM. It opens up, and let's say, for example, this link is actually malicious. There is something behind this link. As soon as you open it, it's going to download all the crap, all the hack stuff. Let's say it will try to infect your computer. What is going to happen now is not going to infect your main machine. It's just going to mess up this container. And if I'm just going to say delete that, and that's it. And this container with everything that was downloaded, it just disappears. Now, for fun, I'm just going to go and open Doom. So starting Doom container for me, and here we go. Doom is running. I'm just gonna close that. Come on, where's my mouse? Here we go. I want a new game. Yes, yes, and that's it. And I'm playing Doom inside KASM Workspaces using the container. So KASM automatically set up a container for me. It set up the Doom container, set up everything, and started streaming that to my browser. I'm done playing. Let's say I win this game. I'm amazing inside in Doom. I'm going to just delete the session, and that's it. Obviously, all the saves and everything else just gets deleted. So KASM is an amazing system that you need to have inside the home lab. For you can have a lot of fun with the KASM. You can have a lot of workspaces set up. Like I said, I'm using KASM for my work. I have a bunch of browsers. Actually, for my work, I'm using every single browser that is available inside the list of the workspaces installed, because sometimes I need to test the website, not in Edge, but in Brave. One thing that I wish that there was an option for me to select here is Safari, but oh well, thank you, Apple. I can't have a Safari here, but I do have everything else pretty much running on my main. I do have a file browser, FileZilla, Firefox, like I said, all the browsers selected. I do have Zoom installed. Sometimes I need to connect and just participate inside the conference call as via text, not just a webcam and audio. I'm using all the Chromium and Chrome browser. A lot of things I have on main one. But this is the KASM Workspaces. As I said in the beginning of the video, they are free price plans, and Community Edition, Community Tier price plan is going to be, why is there an error? Because it doesn't exist anymore. And Community Edition is definitely going to be more than enough for you to try out. If you find this very helpful, obviously you can go and install this, let's say, in a small business environment, and obviously pay, I think it's $5 a month to have all the features. And I just gave you a demo how to select the server to allow the outside connections. But as you can see, you can install the Docker agents and set up zones. A lot of configuration here. I'll leave a link to all the pages that I showed you in this video in description below, and I will put a link to the KASM YouTube channel where they're posting how-to videos, how to do this or that inside the system. I found these videos quite helpful. They helped me to set up quite a few things inside my main KASM environment. Anyway, I think I'm yapping too much. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.